very much. Thank you very much. Good morning. It's my first time in Taiwan and I'm very proud and happy to be here and especially to share with you this new technology, which is something we have been working on with the physiol company now over almost the last 10 years. So it's a new standard, I would say, because in Europe, trifocal technology is now the standard for multifocal IOL implantation. I have a financial interest in the technology, has been said, and I work in Paris in the Rothschild Foundation, which is an old hospital with a huge activity in all the domains of ophthalmology. And in the Rothschild Foundation, as in many hospitals in Europe, we use multifocal IOLs. And today, when we think multifocality is not only distance and near, it's also including intermediate vision. In the past, we already had some lenses, but the environment was not very good because we didn't have phaco, there was no optical biometry. So today it's time really to get the best technology we can because we have no limits in biometry. We can use micro-incision, neutralize astigmatism with toric IOLs or laser surgery. So it's really time to, again, focus on what should be a good multifocal IOL. So there are many players on the market, as you can see here, and the Fine Vision was the first to have a trifocal design. Since then, there are like other brands like Zeiss and also Alcon who have developed IOLs with a similar intention, that is to provide intermediate vision. So if you study IOL properties, again, you'll notice that monofocal IOL, they have only one foci here. Toric IOL, they are providing astigmatism to compensate the corneal astigmatism. It's a nice Sturmconoid here. And if you look at a bifocal IOL, this is a video I've done like 10 years ago with a Technis bifocal. You are shining light and you are collecting light with the camera, and you can see the foci, the distance here, and no intermediate foci, and then the near foci. So you see these IOL, they work using interferences of constructive and destructive light. This is a near foci now. But you see there is a lot of light around it. This light is because of the defocused distance. It's a multifocal IOL. So when you look here, what you've just seen is this near foci here, distance foci there, it's a bit shifted, and in the bifocal, and no intermediate foci. If you compare all these IOL, you see they can have a near and a distance relatively sharp foci, but in intermediate vision, it's not very good. So again, in these days, of course, we still read a lot, but intermediate vision has become more important. It's not only because of some people playing music, where the music sheet is usually intermediate vision distance range. Some people also, they drive and they use this intermediate vision for the dash of the car. But it's today's computer age, and the distance people use to read a computer or a laptop or a tablet or even a smartphone is more than what they used to read. It's usually between 70 centimeters around that. And intermediate vision is, again, very important today. In fact, the idea of developing a trifocal IOL came because 10 years ago, the patient who had bifocal IOL, they were asking spectacles just for watching their computer because it was too close or too far. There was no intermediate vision. So the project of developing the first trifocal IOL came out, and it was like three partners for trifocality: the physiol company, which is a Belgium-based IOL manufacturing company, me, and the Liège Space Center. These are like the first patent issued in 2010, and the first paper here a year later. So if you want to know more about the IOL, you can download this paper in Journal of Cataract and Refractive Surgery. It's under my name, Pagnol and Ubrecht, which were the authors of the paper. This is the first communication I had done in the past. It was in ESCRS 2010. Since then, as I told you, you have other trifocal lenses like the Zeiss one. I will explain the concept later. But the difference between the Zeiss and the physiol is that the physiol lens, and this is why it works well, has a design which makes the light energy, this is in red, more important for large pupil diameters. So this is in x-axis pupil size, y-axis the intensity. And you can see that with the physiol in red, when the pupil dilates, there's more energy for distance, which is this curve. Sorry. Whereas there are less energy for intermediate, which is this curve, and near and intermediate here. So again, when the pupil dilates, you need more light. There's more light for distance usually when you drive at night, for example. When you read, the pupil constricts. So when you read, you need more energy for intermediate and near, and that's the idea of doing this pupil optimized lens, and this is going thanks to apodization, which I will explain. The Zeiss lens has no apodization, so it's always giving the same percentage, but the physiol lens is different and it has a variable percentage. That's very important for optical quality in different pupil conditions. The YAG capsulotomy weights have been also explored, and as you can see, there's less capsulotomy with the fine vision than with the trifocal Zeiss over time. And the lens of physiol comes also in the toric version, which is something which has a lot of importance. I think in Asia many patients have astigmatism, so it's important that you can use this lens. Also the design of the toric lens, and it's also available for the non-toric trifocal, has a very interesting haptic concept of double C-loop. So it's symmetrical, you can rotate the lens in both directions when you want to align it, as opposed to some other lenses. And when the lens is in place, it does not rotate much, because if it rotates one direction, the haptics here would block the other direction. So it's quite stable, and it's very important that you have rotational stability. So technically speaking, I'm not sure that all doctors have been well explained what multifocal IOL is and how it works. So I will explain, because it's interesting to understand how you can create a trifocal IOL with just 2 or 3 basic knowledge. Sorry. So the first thing you need to do is see that any multifocal IOL is, with diffractive technology, is made of a monofocal IOL and a diffractive element. So diffractive element is very important. So diffractive element can be on the whole optic, like with the physiol, or parts of it, like restore, panoptics, etc. And the monofocal optic can be toric for astigmatism correction. So this basic element will give the properties of the IOL. So as you see, it's usually like a zigzag or a sawtooth motif. The only thing you have to understand is the width controls the add. So the more you have steps here, the more power you will have. And the height here controls for the split between distance, near, or intermediate. That's very important. This is all you have to know. So the more steps here, the more power, the less power for the addition. And with the height, you can say, I want 50% for near, 50% for distance, or more or less, etc., etc. This is deriving from a technology which was in fact based from the work of many scientists, including Fresnel, who was French. And the idea is that if you have a lens, you can remove every plano lens inside. It will probably allow you to diffract light. So again, this is how it works. You can even make a monofocal IOL with diffraction, as shown here. But usually, that happens only when the step has exactly one wavelength. The wavelengths of light. It's a bit complicated, but if you reduce it, then what is important is that now this element is diffracting light in the first order, this is the addition here, and also not diffracting light in the 0 order. Just by reducing the height of the step, you can achieve that. So when you have a bifocal lens, it's 0 distance order, which is distance for 40% usually, and the first order, which is the first foci, for 40%. So the question is, there are 20% of light gone somewhere, and in fact, this is due to the other order of diffraction. There's here a second order of diffraction. It's very near and it's not very useful clinically. You can see it when again you look at what, for example, a bifocal lens is doing on light. This is a near foci, the distant foci, but you can see here little faint foci. This is second order of diffraction here. This is another example with the techniques. You have, for example, distance foci here, first order of diffraction, second foci there, and also there are other foci here, and probably a 7 diopter foci here. It always goes like doubling the power when you have consecutive orders of diffraction. So the third foci here is 7 diopters. Why I'm losing time to explain this to you? Because this is very important. What you realize here is that a bifocal lens has a third foci. But this, so it's a trifocal somehow. But the third foci has not so much energy, very faint, and the power is not clinically useful. But now you could think doing a trifocal, which would be distance, intermediate, and near. That would work, because it would be 175 here, 350 there, but still the near foci has no much energy. So again, that's a bifocal lens. 0 order 40%, 1 order 40%, second order 7%. What if now you change just a little bit the lens, you do less steps, as you can see here, and now you have what I've just explained, intermediate and near. That's almost a trifocal IOL, but the near is not very powerful in terms of intensity. So the idea is to combine both elements, a bifocal distance and near, like a classic one, that you apodize, that is reducing the step toward the periphery, and the second bifocal design, distance and intermediate. If you combine the two, that's how you get a trifocal IOL. This is the same number of steps, but the steps have different height now. And that's exactly the physiol concept. So distance and near and distance intermediate combined creates distance near and intermediate with a reasonable amount of energy. So this is how it works. And you can see the actual here diffraction element profile, which is a combination of two bifocal but different profiles. I hope it gives you more a precise idea of how this technology works. The panoptics is different. It's because they couldn't do as easy as we did because of the patent. So I think they had to create another thing which is more complicated. They somehow combine like a bifocal plus 3 and a bifocal plus 2, because they couldn't do 3 and 150 or 3.5 and 175, which makes the profile easier. And if you combine these two, you know, it creates more complicated concept in terms of design. This is why the Alcon is more complex. But again, with the fine vision lens, you can see that this is the MTF, contrast sensitivity. You see for large diameters, there's more light. For distance than near. For small diameter here, there's more light for near and intermediate than distance. This is the panoptics. You see, panoptics is almost sometimes a bifocal on small pupils because the near peak is closer to the intermediate peak, because intermediate peak is plus 2 instead of being 175 or 166. But it's not making a big difference clinically, because clinically what is important is that visual acuity will be plateauing from intermediate to near, because in the human eye you don't have peaks like this, but like a continuous vision quality because of aberrations of the eye, because of depth of field of the eye, etc., etc. So this technology works. You can see this is like a bifocal, again, experience. There are two foci, but if you take a physiol lens here and go through it, you will see one foci for near, distance, and intermediate in the wrong order, but you get the idea. It's a trifocal lens. Again, the apodization was made so that in large pupil you have more energy for distance, which makes the lens less inducing halos and glare at night, which is quite important for those patients. It's also convoluted, which means the steps have a rounded edge, and this is also providing better optical quality. So what is important, I think, in this design, again, is that for large pupils, there's more energy for distance, less for intermediate and near here, and vice versa. So it creates like a pupil customization, which is interesting because most human eyes constrict for near, dilate for distance, etc., etc. So the bench testing has been shown. You see the MTF curve here. And again, if you compare a trifocal to a bifocal, distance and near are almost the same, but intermediate is only provided with a trifocal lens. Remember that when we read tablets, electronics is very contrasted. So even if the contrast is less than for distance, it's not a problem because the eye will see exactly what's on the screen of a laptop, of a tablet, or a smartphone even. So the clinical results in Europe now, we have a lot of background of it, and there are many papers, dozens of papers evaluating optical and visual quality with these lenses in human eyes. This is a defocus curve. You see that, again, distance, intermediate and near is a plateau. Contrast sensitivity is not different between bifocal and trifocal IOLs. It's the same. And what is very important is that halos are not more pronounced with trifocal and bifocal. This is an independent paper. It's not physiol people publishing this. These are other doctors. They have compared trifocal and bifocal, like oculentis, physiol, and glare and halos are not more pronounced with trifocal technology. In fact, now there are papers showing that there are less halos and glare with trifocal IOLs than with bifocal IOL because improvement in the design, apodization, etc., etc. This is also efficient for giving you intermediate vision. It works. This is a multi-centric European study I was involved with. And again, same kind of curve with a peak for distance, a plateau, and a near. Again, if you look at the visual acuity, it's okay. And the very low percentage of disturbing glare, halos, and ghost images at night here. This is also showing that the two trifocal IOL gave less halo and glare than all the other IOL tested. The higher the number, the less the halos. So the first was fine vision, and then ATD-3 in terms of best visual quality evaluated on the dimension and intensity of halos at night. I told you that there's a trifocal toric version. It's interesting, it's a complicated thing because it's toric, so if you analyze the MTF on meridians, it's not going to be the same powers. This is the flat axis and the steep axis here, but it's trifocal everywhere. And the design here, as you see for the toric, is the same as the monofocal for the haptics, same asphericity, same filtration in UV, same number of rings, but you have different toric powers, starting with 1 and up to 6, so you can cover most of the astigmatic patient range for vision. The rotational stability is quite interesting. This is a slide showing you that if you have back compression, you can understand that the lenses will remain centered and not prone to rotation because of the symmetric design and this, again, anti-rotational concept, which is unique to this IOL. So if you want to have tips for injection, I would tell you that for the toric, you can use, no, it's not working, it worked previously, but okay, this is a cartridge, so you can put the IOL in this cartridge for the toric. I do it under the microscope. If you start with the lens, I would recommend you to do this. So there's like a main tunnel here and a little groove there. You want just to put the extremity of haptics in the little groove here, and then you push forward. See, it has to be here in the groove because this will receive this side of the lens. You push it forward, and then once it's really gliding well, you can close the cartridge there, and the lens will move nicely in the injector AccuJet. So that's the way it is. So now I'm going to close it, and as you see here, it will fold nicely in the injector. You will hear a little click. You can check under the microscope that the lens is not trapped. and then just proceed for injection. This is the IOL under the microscope. Here you can see the structure of it. And again, once in the bag, it will be stable. When you remove the viscoelastic, you see because of the haptic design, it's really stable. It doesn't really move much. And I invite you to check this when you use it. So the calculation can be done based on new formulas which are available online. This is a toric IOL power calculation with new formulas now. The Abufia-Koch formula, a regression which takes into account the posterior surface average effect for the toricity, and it's probably now comparable to Barrett formula that you can have. So, do I have time or is this gone? Little time? So I will just show you a little study. I will go fast. We have compared the EDOF lens with a trifocal lens. This is an EDOF lens, and we've done that in vitro. So just to show you that the Technis Symphony is also competitive with the trifocal technology in Europe, but the difference is that what we found in vitro, and this is echoing the clinical result, is that the trifocal IOL here, which is, I think, the blue curve, is giving you 3 peaks, far, intermediate, and near. But the EDOF lens was only giving me 2 peaks, far and intermediate, but no near vision. And this is also shown for another larger pupil aperture. What was interesting is that for a small pupil, an EDOF lens has a large peak, like if the far and intermediate are merging there. But this is also happening for the trifocal lens. So the trifocal lens has a much larger peak for near, whereas, and of course, the bifocal Technis is just bifocal. So in other words, what you can understand is that EDOF lenses, such as the Technis Symphony, they really like a bifocal, distance, and intermediate without near. That's probably how they work. And you can see here an EDOF lens. You see there's a foci for distance. You see the power here. And there's a second foci for intermediate, but there's no foci for near here. Whereas if you go to a trifocal lens, you'll see one foci for distance, one foci coming at 1.75 now for intermediate, and a third foci coming at 350 here for near. So again, this is shown in this slide here, that if you have an EDOF lens, you will get far and intermediate but poor near vision. With a bifocal lens, you will get good distance, good near, but poor intermediate vision, and only trifocal lenses are provide you with a full range of vision. This has been, again, investigated extensively in many cases, and we have shown that there is no more halo or glare, again, comparing 3 technologies like that. It has been shown also that, again, with EDOF lenses, there's no near vision much, whereas, again, with a trifocal lens, you have distance, intermediate, and near. This is another comparison, fine vision, square, Symphony circles. You see in near, the defocus curve is not as good as with a trifocal lens. So, to finish, just 2 slides. In the future, we can use trifocal technology also to design similar concepts for EDOF lenses, and we will combine also different gratings, but you see what physiol is working now, but this is not before 3-4 years now. Will be EDOF lens with far, intermediate more than near, but still a bit of near. And you see this is a red concept here, trifocal, but far and intermediate for people who just want to have good distance, good intermediate, and a little near maybe. And the trifocal still in blue for people who really want to have good distance, near, intermediate, but really good near, spectacular independence. So in conclusion, I think with trifocal technology, what is important, again, is that if you use bifocal, anytime you have a bifocal indication, you can switch to a trifocal indication, because I obviously have no argument to maintain bifocal lenses in my eyes of the patient I do surgery on. Secondly, you don't need to do monovision, It's not like EDOF lenses. If you want to have near vision, you can just go for emmetropia in both eyes, and it saves some hassles of dominant eye and non-dominant eye. You do the same for the two eyes, and that's it. And the patients are not confused. And this is why, again, in Europe, trifocal technology, regardless of the IOL brand, and physiol is, of course, one leader in the field, is really replacing bifocal IOLs now since the last 2 years. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your beautiful presentation and providing very important information. Due to time limit, we can only allow one question from the floor. Is there any question? I would like to ask for your opinion about the spheric optic design of the IOL, because one study published last year, which compared the visual outcome for intermediate and the near between patients with bilateral fine vision trifocal IOL implant versus bilateral Technics ZNB bifocal IOL implant. And we also found that 100% of the patients in both groups have acceptably good intermediate vision. And they propose that it is most likely due to the aspheric optic design of the ZNB IOL implant, because it increased the depth of focus. So do you think this is a reasonable explanation, or do you have something else in mind?
It's an interesting question, because but there is a little contradiction, because again, if you consider the monofocal techniques, it's very aspheric. And they said at that time, like 15 years ago, that when they launched it, that it was to provide increased contrast sensitivity for better optical quality to compensate corneal circumference and to fully compensate it. But if you have full compensation of corneal aberration, in fact, you have less depth of focus. So to me, I don't really see the point of saying that you have good intermediate vision if you have more aberration compensation. But there may be another explanation there. But again, based on my experience, bifocal IOLs are not doing a good job for intermediate vision. And this is why trifocal IOL were, in fact, having a room on the market. And I really remember that my patient, Technics or Restore, bifocal lenses, implanted patients, they usually came to me and I knew what they were asking. They say, can I have spectacles for a intermediate, for my computer? And some of them, I still see them now, because some of them were young and they are still using spectacles for the computer screen. So I think really if you want intermediate vision, it's either EDOF lenses, but the near is sometimes a problem. This is why you have to do monovision with EDOF lenses like the Symphony, or trifocal IOL to be similar in both eyes, and I think it makes my clinical life easier also.
Thank you very much for your explanation.
I'm sorry, I have one question about, are you concerned with the kappa or alpha angle before you implant this IOL?
Oh, that's a very important question as well. Yes, so in most of my patients, I don't really care of the kappa angle, and I've noticed that sometimes my colleagues have a little fear, but it's difficult to anticipate because it's a complicated issue optically. I think that because of the position of the lens in the eye, which is close to the nodal point, it's not a big problem. What I would most insist on is that if the surgery goes fine, even if you have a large kappa, you can still probably use a trifocal IOL. But if you have a surgical complication like capsular bag rupture or zonular zonular defect, then don't use any multifocal IOL, because if the lens is tilted in the eye, that's not good at all. So decentration is not a big problem, I think, but tilt would be a problem. So all my patients, I said before the surgery that the surgery has to be perfect to get the lens. which is good because most of the time they have the lens, so they think, oh, the surgery was perfect. But that's a good point. So when you have a problem, it's better when you say, I have to change. Sometimes it happens to everybody, even the best surgeon, you have a capsular issue or something unpredicted. And then I would say that as soon as you hesitate to put the trifocal lens, don't put it, because these lenses are very technically advanced, but they are made for eyes without surgical complication. And even if you have a surgical complication, like a macular edema, people will blame that you put a trifocal lens. It would be not worse with a monofocal, but everyone will say that the vision is not good because of the multifocal IOL, which may not even be true. So to avoid these kind of hassles, I usually tell my patient in advance that there are chances that maybe this lens will not be implanted. But again, it's very exceptional cases.
Thank you very much. 下一个题目是，李汉杰医师，他目前是服务在大血眼科集团哦，他也是台大医学院毕业，目前也是在研究所有做临床的一些研究。他是目前也是后起之秀哦，我们现在也听听他对于这个三焦点的physiol IOL 的经验谈。我们欢迎李汉杰医师。因为时间的关系哦，可能要稍微加快一点，
尽量精简，是的。各位好，我是板桥大学眼科的刘兰杰。那我现在为各位介绍 physiol 他们的 Ancoris 这个散光矫正水晶体。好，那我们知道，其实大部分一半以上的病患，他可能角膜他们的散光在75度以上啊。其实很多病患是需要矫正散光，但是实际上在使用的比例一般10%左右，所以有很大的成长空间。那我们放 toric IOL 就好像在做科学上的测量一样，我们要讲究accuracy 跟 precision 两者兼备的话才能够命中目标，尽量帮病患的散光尽量减少，才会有好的视力。那我认为我们在做术前的一些散光的检查，或者是实际上在放 IOL 的过程，都牵涉到这个 accuracy 跟 precision 是不是可以很良好。那这个 IOL 的散光水晶体，它 rotational 的 stability 我认为牵涉到这个手术的 precision， 放进去如果它不会乱转的话，才能够在术后达到我们想要的效果。Ancoris 我认为是具备这样子的特点。但是有人做过研究这散光如果在75度以上，当然这个视标的 contrast 就会很明显的降低，所以我们当然要想办法帮病患的散光降到50度以下。那么后角膜散光在最近几年已经讨论过很多了，其实大部分的医师也都认同，我们应该把它考虑进去。在过往比较旧的 toric 计算器算出来，最后手术结果其实大概还会残余散光50度左右。那如果说用像 Barrett 那个 toric 的计算器的话，其实做出来的结果就可以相当的接近于完全消除散光。Dr. Koch 在去年 ENCR 他提出来的统计如果说前角膜散光是 with the rule 的病患的话，他的后角膜散光大部分集中在大概0.3到0.5个 diopter， 当然这是算是 against rule 的后角膜散光，但是可以多到甚至到1个 diopter 左右。而且我们也可以发现，如果它的前角膜的顺向散光如果越多的话，其实后角膜散光也越多。那如果前角膜是 against rule 的话，那后面的角膜散光一般在0.3左右，0.2、0.3左右。那这个都是我们在做计算需要考虑进去的。那所以我们帮病患做了一些检查那传统上我们可能会说，这个病患如果他散光在75度以上，就要帮他做矫正，会跟病患建议用 toric IOL。我认为这样子的想法可能不尽然正确， 因为我们的目标是希望病患的术后的 total 的散光要，比如说到75度或55度或者50度以下，所以我们要考虑的是总散光。也不要忘记这个散光的相加其实是用向量相加，所以我们怎么去看呢？我们可以事先做一下计算，这个资料出来，我自己把它统计起来，在不同的眼轴长之下，在不同的前角膜的 speed axis， 那应该前角膜散光多少以上，我可以跟病患建议说，你应该考虑 toric IOL。那其实计算起来，比如说最常见的，如果是 against rule 的病患，其实他可能20-30度以上的散光我们就可以建议用 toric IOL， 这样子他术后的散光才能够降到75或50度以下。那如果是 with rule 的大概90度左右的散光可能要在100度以上，我们才要跟病患建议使用 toric。那 oblique 的话，当然我们这很难背得起来所以我就把这些数字做成表格。我在病患的资料过来，我比对一下，马上可以跟病患建议说，你应该使用 toric。那用哪一个 K 这个也讨论很久其实目前都没有定论。大家手上的仪器都很多像 auto 啦，或者是 digital 的 biometry sorry 是 optical biometry， 大家几乎都有在使用。那 topo 跟 tomo 它的特色在其实也相当重要。比如说，如果 IO 的比较高，0.3个 micron 以上，我们就要考虑说它是比较 irregular， 做出来的度数或者视力效果可能没有那么好，要事先跟病患说明。或者是说在某些比较 irregular 的 cornea， 那有些 study 说我们可以用 topo 或 tomo 上面某个区段上面的散光来当做计算的 K 的话，也许会有比较准的结果。那 Varium 也可以量 K。Aura 的话也可以，那他们是不是哪一个最优秀？有的 paper 说，这个机器比较好，有的说没有比较好。然后我个人的看法是，就是看各位的使用环境之下，哪一个仪器的 K 它是最 consistent 的，那我认为你可以去使用哪一个，然后去重复的测量，比如说2次以上去比较，如果表现都很稳定的话，来使用下去，一般都会有很好的结果。因为大部分的 cornea 都是比较 regular 的。那我个人的偏好的话，我是用 Lenstar 的 K 做 toric 矫正相当多年，目前其实觉得也表现很稳定。那散光校正很重要，但是球面的度数也是要讲究因为如果散光矫正的很好，可是球面不准，当然术后视力一样不好。那在比较上一代的公式，我认为是像这几个 HIGIS、SRKT 啊、Holiday One、Hofer-Q。在比较长的眼轴长搭配Dr. Wang 跟 Kopp 的眼轴校正公式，这样做起来一般来讲效果是还不错。那从最近更新一代像 Heo RBF 从2016年开始推出，还有 Barrett Universal 2这两个从去年开始一直都使用这两个公式，我认为相当的准确这是我个人的推荐。那 SIA 以前认为的2.4的伤口大概是0.25或0.3个 diopter， 但是因为那样子的计算是因为只有把散光的数值去求平均，并没有当做向量来思考。当做向量来看的话，其实一般大概在0.1或0.13个 diopter， 这样子在输入的话，我想会更加的正确。那目前的 toric calculator 像 physiol 他们的就是刚刚 Dr. Gatino 有解释到它的 K 是用 Ablavia Kopp 的 regression formula， 就是它可以把你输入前角膜的散光，它会用一个回归公式去算出总角膜的散光来继续做计算。那其实，在 Dr. Ablavia 跟 Barrett 他们共同有一篇 paper 里面的数字也有显现出来，其实这两个 calculator 的结果是非常接近的，所以其实两个我想都可以使用。那这两个 calculator 的优点就是说，当然他们有考虑后角膜散光，这个是已经很确定需要去思考的事情。还有一个比较重要就是在比如说像 high myopia 的 case 这个 IOL 的 power 比较低，或是 EOP 比较低，其实就是讲 high myopia 的 case 的时候，这样子的 toric IOL 它在角膜上可以矫正的散光效果会比较弱一些， 所以在这样子的 case， 我们需要用更高的 IOL 的 toricity。那这样子的思考，在比较前一代的 calculator， 比如说某些厂商的，他们其实没有考虑进去，都是用一个固定的 IOL 的那个 toricity ratio 去计算，那这样其实会造成一些误差。但是目前其实都已经有考虑进去了。那么 accuracy 的话，他们的闪光的度数蛮多，但是从 1.5 到 6.0不过 1.0 目前没有个人希望他们可以把 1.0 也做出来，这样会比较方便。那 RB number 58是目前在台湾可以使用的产品里面来讲算是最高的，所以它对于那个 chromatic aberration 色差的矫正是比较好的。那 WC loop 刚刚 Dr. Gatino 也有介绍，我个人也相当喜欢他们的设计，因为它放进去之后真的也不太会乱转做出来的效果几乎就是像术前期待的那个样子，而且在手术中你要顺时针或逆时针转都可以，其实相当方便，也不小心转过头再把它转回去就好了，操作上很简单。好，那也有些人医师统计过那如果说跟 Envista、Acrisoft、Fine Vision 比较，术后剩余的散光是最少的，可以在50度左右。这个是法国的医师是发现术后可以剩下40度的散光，术后旋转角度2.1度并不多。那去年就是瑞士的医师是统计术后的旋转大概1年也是旋转大概3.4度在跟其他的厂牌比起来也都是相当优秀的表现。个人认为像做 mark 的话，那目前在台湾的统计，大部分医师都是用 slit lamp 下面来做 mark。的确从 study 来看，这已经算是一个相当准确的 marking 的方法跟像这种 one step 的 marker， 这种 pendular marker 相比，其实效果也相当的接近。那 Varion 或者像 Callisto 这种digital 的 marker， 目前可能结果还不一定有些研究认为说这个比较准像这边这个是今年的 paper 就发现说，确实用 Varion 跟手动的 marking 比起来，它的角度偏差比较少。不过术后的它可能散光或者是视力其实两者是相近的并没有明显的误差。我想就是当然手上如果有这样的机器是相当好，如果没有的话也不用觉得很灰心，其实用手做也是可以做得蛮准的。这书中这个是也常常在提到的那 CCC 不能太大，位置要正确尽量我个人认为不要超过5个 mm， 太大的话没有 cover 其实容易偏位或者是 tilt 的问题。OVD 当然IOL 的前面后面都清干净最后手术结束的时候 AC 不要灌太饱，灌太饱的话背个很大，其实 IOL 就容易松动。伤口当然不能漏水，漏水的话也是 IOL 会移动位置。最后当然手术结束的时候确定它的角度是正确的。那什么时候会跑掉？比如说像高度近视背个比较大这个就容易发生，或者是说像 with the rule 因为这个时候 X 只要对在90度的位置，这个在统计上来讲也是比较容易会转掉位置，就要特别小心。那么像我们计算起来，在低度数闪光的水晶体也许移动个10几度还没关系，因为它在比如说1.5 diopter 的闪光水晶体跑掉22度的时候，才会造成术后残余75度以上的闪光。但是用到 toricity 3以上的话，就要特别小心了，因为跑掉不到10度就会产生75度以上的闪光，就要更加的注意。那万一有些 case 真的它 IOL 已经转掉了，我们需要帮病患去转到正确的位置。目前主要有2个网站可以使用。Estimation Fix 的话，它可以帮忙计算，就是说，你应该把这个病患的 IOL 转到什么角度去。Barrett 的 RX Formula 它更方便就是万一如果这个 case 其实不是转角度而已，是要连 Toric IOL 都要换掉的话，它也会一起再帮你建议出来。当然是希望不要发生这种事情一般2个礼拜之内，我就会去帮病患去做旋转。不过其实 Anchorage 用到现在是还不需要用到这个部分那目前 Anchorage 的表现都相当好。目前有 case 不多，但是其实放了几个之后，我就感受相当的 impressive。 目前有17个眼睛，那他们的散光refractive 的 astigmatism 从25度到375度，那术后视力其实相当不错，83%可以到1.0，几乎所有的 case 可以到0.8以上的视力。他们的散光也不错因为76%可以在50度以下的散光，全部都可以控制在75度以下的散光。我自己做了几个 case， 觉得怎么都散光都这么少。那我再自己回去看最近几个月的 case 统计起来，真的是相当不错。所以我是认为有好的术前的散光片的各病患散光的测量，在规划 toric IOL 的时候有正确的方式，然后在使用像这种 rotational stability 很好的 anchors 的话，我相信可以得到很好的结果，病患会满意，医师自己也会很满意。谢谢大家。
非常感谢于医师非常精彩的演讲。因为时间的关系，我想如果是要讨论的，我们私下再找于医师或者好，我们再私下讨论。因为时间的关系，我们就结束这个午餐会，谢谢。